Bottom of the ninth, the 1-2. Alvarez swings and drills it deep left field. Goodbye and good night.
Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, the Hut, and of course this is the Baseball Hut. And please subscribe and like this video and let me know what you think about this video. So the Mets won last night against the Phillies. They had some very good offensive contributions from a few guys. We know that Pete Alonso got his 100th RBI in the game. Brett Beatty got another big hit in the game, late in the game. Francisco Lindor had a strong game. But obviously, one of the holes in this lineup is the catching position. I've been doing a lot of videos over the last few months on Francisco Alvarez. Alvarez is the #1 prospect in Major League Baseball. And that through MLB.com. He's considered one of the best players in the minor leagues right now, if not the best. There's a lot of high hopes for him. His highest thing that he can provide is a lot of power. Out of a grade of 70 through MLB.com, he has 70 in terms of power and 60 in terms of his hitting tool. So he's very high up there in terms of as a prospect. But he's a catcher. So he's a little behind with his catching ability in terms of calling a game, in terms of handling a pitching staff. And the Mets are a little leery, and they've been very leery about calling him up just due to the fact it's a veteran staff. They're in the middle of a pennant race. They're trying to win the division, trying to get the postseason. You know, so it's kind of difficult to bring him up when he's not ready. So I'm going to go do some of his numbers that he has been producing in AAA. He played in AA earlier in the season. He had .277 with 18 home runs and 47 RBIs, an OPS of .921 and .553 slugging percentage. Performed so well that the Mets promoted him to AAA Syracuse, where he's played over the last month down there, and he sort of has had mixed results. His numbers currently, he's now hitting 165. 165 on an on-base percentage of 328, 350 slugging percentage, 678 OPS. He's hit 5 home runs. He's not hit a home run since August the 4th. So he is in a deep slump. Over his last 10 games, let me give you a rundown. Over his last 10 games, he's not had a hit since, he's had 1 hit since August the 12th. So he's had 1 hit in this past week. So he has not produced at the clip that he was prior to his promotion to AAA Syracuse. So he's in a slump. He's in a deep slump, and obviously he's not ready yet. So the Mets are going to have to be very... So he's 1 for his last 19 over the last week. So the Mets are going to have to... He's not ready yet, obviously. Now, I know a lot of people have been wanting him here, including myself, because the Mets are getting very little offensive production out of the catching position. And since James McCann is back in there as the regular catcher with Nito on the IL, you see how bad James McCann is. You pine for anybody better than him. And they have Michael Perez, who's got a good arm. He made a good play the other night, and I guess in Atlanta, he threw a runner out. The ball went behind him, hit the wall behind him, and came back. And he threw the runner out second. It was an incredible play. But aside from his defense, they get no production out of that part of the lineup. I also would point out about James McCann, he has a great arm, and he's good at calling the game. But in terms of catching a ball and being able to block the plate from balls in the dirt is horrendous. He's about as bad as I've seen in a very long time for the Mets to have here. The best I ever saw at blocking any balls in the dirt was Gary Carter. And James McCann is no Gary Carter when it comes to any kind of defensive skill. He is terrible defensively in terms of blocking the plate on those balls in the dirt. So that is a concern for me as a Mets fan, the defensive part of James McCann's game. Because if he's not going to hit, and he's not going to play good defense aside from his arm, he's really much a useless player. And really, he shows himself to be a bad player. He's probably the worst player on the Mets. He's probably the worst player on the New York Mets, and probably one of the worst players in Major League Baseball, quite frankly. But just going through a little bit of Alvarez real quickly. I'm sorry. His scouting grade is hit tool is 55. His power is 70. So that's about as high as you can get. So he's a big-time power hitter. We saw him a little bit in spring training. His swing, his follow-through is very similar to that of Mike Piazza. That's me saying it just from looking at it. In terms of his fielding, it seems to be about average. His arm is pretty good. His overall grade on MLB.com is 65, which is pretty high. They think very highly of it. Let me read you just sort of the overview of some of the stuff that they have about Alvarez. Now, you can look this up on METS.com. They have this on here. All right. Even if he didn't play a premium position at catcher, Alvarez would be one of the most exciting offensive prospects in baseball. His swing is whip-like from the right side and helps him barrel balls easily to all fields. He has tremendous raw power that has already been of use in games. His 24 home runs in 2021 were second most among minor league teenagers, and he would have hit for more if he didn't play at pitcher-friendly Coney Island. Buck Showalter's Major League staff certainly took note of him, of his plus pop in the spring, noting his home runs looked Major League quality even then. All that said, Alvarez's profile does get a boost from his ability to play behind the plate. New York officials acknowledge he has been working diligently to become even an average defensive backstop, hoping his framing and blocking can at least come close to his bat. His plus arm is an asset at least, though he needs to improve his throwing. Regardless, his power could help the youngster become one of the game's best offensive backstops once he reaches Queens, and he has the bat to make multiple All-Star trips and perhaps a few home run derby appearances as well. So this power is a big deal. I mean, just looking at it, he'd probably be a 30 home run guy with 270 batting average, from what I could tell, from what I've read. But he has to pick it up in AAA. At the rate he's going, he's not going to be here in New York in September. A couple of things about him. He's not on the 40-man roster with the Mets. So the Mets would have to put him on the 40-man roster. Somebody would have to come off. They put Beatty on the 40-man roster. They make a lot of moves, you know. They're bringing a lot of guys that aren't on the 40-man roster. Beatty was put on the 40-man roster. Michael Perez was put on the 40-man roster. They had R.J. Alvarez. He didn't think he was on there earlier. But they've been bouncing people back and forth on this 40-man roster. They also designated for assignment the walk-off infield single king, Patrick Mazeika. So he'll probably get back down to the minor leagues without not being on the 40-man. So that's a space for him. They've been doing a lot of different things here. You know, I wish Major League Baseball had not gotten rid of the waiver trade deadline of August 31st. I wish they'd kept that. Because teams do kind of need help in August and September. To be honest with you, the Mets could use a starter just to get some innings in until Carrasco and Walker are healthy. But they don't have that right now. Who knows when that's going to come back. But another thing about the catching position, yesterday Kevin Parada, the Mets' #1 pick, he played in the Florida Coast League for the St. Lucie Mets, and he went 2 for 3 with a double. 1 for 3 with two strikeouts and a walk. So his career has begun. He's the other big catching prospect the Mets have, and he is the Mets' #3 best prospect now to the updated rankings for Major League Baseball on MLB.com. He's very highly regarded. He was the best catcher in the 2022 draft. So he's in very good form as well. So the Mets are very well stocked behind the plate for the next 4 or 5 years in terms of catchers. That's a strength now. According to MLB.com, the Mets now have the 8th best prospect and farm system in Major League Baseball. Prior to the draft, they had the 20th. So it wasn't very high, and they've taken a major step forward. This was an enormous draft they had this past year. And considering how poorly the draft was last year, this is a big step up. So, thank you for watching this video. Please leave super thanks in the comment section. You'll know what that is. There's a little dollar sign inside heart. Click on that. Send me something. Great donation for the channel and helps me out and helps this channel get more subscribers and more people and can have a lot more fun here. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching again. And I'll see you later.